Good morning, I'm Brother Jason. This is the Baptist Catechism. Question 91 asks us this: what does every sin deserve? Regardless of how bad or heinous the sin is in our sight or God's, what does every sin deserve? The answer: every sin deserves God's wrath and curse, both in this life and in that which is to come. Sin separates us from God. Sin is something that God absolutely hates. Whenever we do things that God tells us not to, that is sin. Our sin has separated us from God. We know the wages of sin is death. We know sin was the reason for the fall of man. It caused separation between us and God. Jesus hates sin so much he died on the cross so that he could eliminate it and eradicate it altogether. And eventually that day will come where the sinful nature won't even be a part of who we are. God hates sin. Sin separates us from God. Every sin deserves God's wrath and curse in this life and in the future for eternity. Let's look at what the Bible has to say here. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 6. Let no one deceive you with empty words. Because of these things the wrath of God comes on the sons of disobedience. And Paul had given a long list of various things. You can read it in Ephesians 5. It's because of those things: impurity, immorality, covetousness, idolatry, and there's a long list of it. Because of those things, the wrath of God has come on the sons of disobedience. Don't let anybody deceive you. God's not happy with your sin. God's not happy with my sin. God doesn't sit there and wink and go, oh, it's okay. God hates sin. It's because of sin that the wrath of God comes. Galatians chapter 3, verse 10. For as many are as of the works of the law are under a curse. For it is written, cursed is everyone who does not abide by all the things written in the book of the law to perform them. If you think that you can completely, perfectly attain to some sinless perfection in this life, and that by your own merit you're going to warrant salvation or gain that, then you're lying to yourself. If you attempt to try to be holy enough by following the Ten Commandments will convict you because you mess up every single day. James himself says, he who keeps the whole law and yet offends in one point is guilty of all. Cursed is everyone who does not abide by all the things written in the book of the law to perform them. You cannot gain righteousness by trying to keep all of the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments are there. They're good. They're righteous and holy. They point out our sin. It is the standard God requires, but you will never be able to attain that righteousness by keeping them. There is a curse that happens because sin is pointed out by our law breaking. There's nothing we can do about that except come to the Lord and ask for forgiveness. Proverbs 3:33. The curse of the Lord is on the house of the wicked, but he blesses the dwelling of the righteous. And this is true. Sin and wickedness brings a curse on people's life. When people are in right fellowship with the Lord and they've been forgiven and set free and they're walking in sanctification, God does bless. So the curse of the Lord is on the house of the wicked. He blesses the dwelling of the righteous. Psalm 11, verse 6. Upon the wicked he will rain snares. Fire and brimstone and burning wind will be the portion or of their cup. For the Lord is righteous. He loves righteousness. The upright will behold his face. Quite a contrast there. The wicked will receive snares, fire, brimstone, and burning wind. That's their portion. The righteous, they get to see the face of God. What a blessing that is. Revelation chapter 21, verse 8 tells us this: but for the cowardly and unbelieving and abominable and murderers and immoral persons and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars, their part will be in the lake of fire, in the lake that burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Cowardly, unbelieving, abominable, murderers, immoral persons, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars. I think that pretty much covers everybody. Now, in the King James, the word immoral persons there is whoremongers. So you can imagine what that was, what John is saying there, or Jesus is saying to John through that. Their part, the people who don't know the Lord, their part for eternity is in the lake that burns with fire and brimstone. That's the second death. That is the natural end for every man, woman, and child that's born into this world. Apart from them coming to know Christ as their Savior, the end for all of them is the lake of fire that burns forever. What does every sin deserve? The answer? Every sin deserves God's wrath and curse, both in this life and in that which is to come.